Morning all, how we doing? Morning everybody. Sorry, a bit late again, as usual. Morning Aries, Steve, Danny, Diamond, Virginia, Bolino, V, it's time, Joaquin, Henry, Andrew, Stevie, Doreska, Wendy again. Wendy, say goodbye. Say good morning twice. Did you? No, you didn't. Sorry. Morning. Sorry, you can tell it's been a long weekend. How are we all doing? Right. Let me have a quick look at news, first of all. Morning, Ike. Basically, we've had, obviously, bank holiday in the UK yesterday. So it was all flat. I wasn't here, obviously. I haven't caught up on the news. So I just want to quickly whiz through all the news on Financial Juice this morning and just have a look at what's happening. There's lots of stuff going on with the US at the moment with the banking sector and the US and the Fed potentially defaulting on its interest payments, which is the first time, I think. So we could have a very weak US dollar all of a sudden. So we need to be a little careful at the moment with anything US dollar crosswise, because you might find the US has a little bit of a collapse at some point in the next 3 or 4 weeks if they default. So we'll have a look at that. But just to go over the news for today, there is nothing today. Yesterday, there was no news. It was bank holiday. Today, there's no news either. So first news we've got this week is CPI tomorrow. Where's my pen gone? So it might be a quietish session today as well, because there's no news catalyst. But because we had a bank holiday, there'll be a lot of orders stacked up for UK. So we might actually get a bit of movement, but we'll see. So CPI tomorrow, that's the main thing, the inflation figures for the US. I doubt they're going to increase their interest rates again, because if they do, they're probably going to go bankrupt. So things like the US is in a bit of a problem at the moment. We've got Jordan speaking tomorrow afternoon as well. And then we've got the bond auctions. The main news this week is Thursday, which is the rates for the UK. 4.5 is forecast. Don't see any reason why we shouldn't get 4.5. Should get a bullish move on the pound. But it all depends what happens in the monetary policy statement and what Bailey says in the press conference. Morning, Michael. So basically that's the main news this week on Thursday. We've got Waller speaking as well. And then Thursday afternoon, we've got the PPI figures and unemployment. And then Friday, we got GDP for the pound and New Zealand inflation expectations, which is actually their inflation, their proper CPI figure, really, the quarterly one. So that is quite important. And then Michigan on Friday. So busy week this week, but it doesn't all kick off until tomorrow afternoon. So early start of the week is rubbish and quiet. So I'm just going to quickly whiz back on the news to yesterday and the weekend. So that's probably yesterday's Fear and Greed. That's it, isn't it? Yeah, that's Aussie. So the main news that we had for the US was the Fed saying that basically, I'm getting the vibes that a credit squeeze is beginning. The Fed basically saying that there is possibility of recession and possibility of defaulting on their interest payments. So if that does happen, that's going to be quite catastrophic for the Fed and probably for the US dollar. So I'm just going to whiz through and see if there's anything else exciting happened over the weekend. Australian retail bank, OIDA, No, that was it. Oh, okay, fine. Not a lot then. There we go. So nothing exciting over the weekend for the news. There was also talk of something else about the Bank of Japan I saw, which might have been on Friday, but that was to do with basically they see their inflation rate going up higher than expected and faster than expected, which again will put pressure on interest rate rises for the yen. So we might actually see that yen interest rate rise back from negative figures. So we'll see what happens there. Right. yesterday, quick recap of everything yesterday. We got 3 minutes until the open. Not a lot happened yesterday. It was all very, very quiet. Morning, John. Obviously, because it was bank holiday, we only had the New York session, and they didn't do a lot in that. So this is the hedging set file, banked 0.3%. Wow. Did 4.2% on Friday. Didn't notice that when I did the video at the weekend. So yeah, 0.3% banked yesterday, nothing banked today, sitting in 6.86. So again, there's nothing. This New Zealand dollar, US dollar is the only thing that's getting close, but there's nothing else there that's getting particularly dodgy on drawdown. The H4 mean reversion 0.4 drawdown control yesterday, sitting in 0.5%. That's going to bank a load today, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. That will probably bank 1 or 2% today, probably. H1M5, tiny little drawdown control yesterday. Nothing much to write home about. Again, there's a load of profits sitting open P&L. Probably bank some of that today. And ADR reversals. We had a bit of a loss yesterday, banked loss of 1%. Clawed back 0.5% today, sitting in 1.86. Again, there's some more that's going to get banked on this. This US dollar CAD. Could really do with the US dollar push today. If we can get that US dollar CAD over the line, that will just get rid of yesterday's loss. But the ADR reversal's not doing as well this month as last month. Swings and roundabouts, different strategies have different advantages and disadvantages. But yeah, across the board, nothing much happened yesterday. Just a little bit of drawdown control all over the place. ADRs so far today, there are none. There's nothing hit the weeklies, so there's nothing to look at on the ADRs. RSIs, we've got a few. So we'll have a look through those in a minute. But let's have a quick look at the open and just see what's going on with the DAX. So there's your pre-market 15 range. ORB is long on that if you are playing the pre-market. So DAX. Day of week gone. So yesterday, as you can see on the DAX, basically we just went absolutely nowhere. It just went sideways. Friday was a massive, massive bull day. So on Friday, we came back up into this high. So this is the range that we've been stuck in now since April the 13th, around about there. So we are literally just mucking about in this range. You can see the volatility picked up here. So we had a big ADR day, a big ADR day, then another big ADR day, then another big ADR day. So that was fairly contracted, and then the volatility is expanded here. So where we are at the moment, you've got to favor obviously a short if you're going to assume that we are going to stay in this range. If we get the US dollar dropping, the money will probably go into stocks. So we may find we get a rally on the stock market, on the indices, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Pound's pushing up against the US dollar at the moment, so we might have a weak US dollar by the looks of things. I'll have a look at that in a sec. But yeah, so pretty much ideal short conditions at the moment. So we've got a little propulsion gap there on M5. We've got a little one at the top there. So drop today. If assuming we're going to stay in the range, obviously, you just got to assume we're going to carry on doing what we're doing. But if we don't, obviously, we're going to fly out the upside. So upside potential today, ADR is up there. So if we do break this high and that high from Friday last week, just be looking for a normal average daily movement. So pushing up to the upside. Downside, there's no propulsion gap targets apart from this one just below the low of yesterday. So the first target is going to be yesterday's low, which is this dotted line down here. And then obviously a break of that, flush all the way back down to 150 ADR, which is this low that we just have tested over and over again and are not interested in going through. So if you're going short, loads of room. If you're going long, a little bit less room. And obviously less certainty going to the upside because we've got no targets to the upside because we'll be at new highs. So we'll see what happens with that one. At the moment, the pre-market breakout long is just kind of sitting there, not doing a lot. Right. Other indices yesterday, sideways. So all the indices yesterday just had a normal sideways day, basically. Nothing particularly exciting happening anywhere. So we'll see what happens with those moving forward. Oil. So we looked at oil for the potential move up from this propulsion gap fill, and it's worked out beautifully. So yeah, I'm not trading it at the moment. So propulsion gap target there to the upside, and then once it's got that one, I suspect we'll come back down and then potentially put in that sort of pattern if we are going to go long. But I'm really not sure on oil moving forward. The market seems very, very weak for oil at the moment. So I'm not convinced of this $95 a barrel target that they're floating. I don't think we're going to get to it. We'll see. Okay, 5-minute opening range is we're 4 minutes in, so we just got 1 minute left on that. But your pre-market looks like it's got a target there. Not particularly strong moves this morning. Oops. So your 1.5 hour target is basically back up at this high here. Very slow move this morning, though. There's not really any volume in the market today, which I'm quite surprised about because Euro was shut yesterday. So who knows? Morning, Kennelly. Morning, AGB, Good name. Not very easy to pronounce, but anyway, morning. Oh, Salty reporting from the couch. Okay. Multiple YouTube accounts, stalker. Right. Let's have a look at where we are for RSIs. There's your opening range, your 5-minute opening range. Yeah, this looks like it wants to go short to me. We've rejected that push to the upside at the moment. Be nice to come up and get that propulsion gap done, but it doesn't look like it's got any power to the upside. So your 5-minute opening range breakout is short. And they are short on the pre-market as well. So that's good for shorts. So watch this low. If you're trading the ORB EA, this low is potential support. Once that low's gone, there's nothing. So look out below, basically. There's a little accumulation there from Friday. Apart from that, off we go down to ADR. So see if we've got any movement, enough movement today to get down there. Right. Just want to have a quick look at the US dollar this morning. We had a quite big drop on the US dollar yesterday. I say big drop, wasn't a massive drop, but if you look at the US dollar CAD, we've had this massive downward spiral. We did have a drop, so it looked like it was continuing yesterday, but it pulled straight back up to the open, which is quite often what they do when there's a bank holiday. They just sort of hover. So this morning we're having a little bit of a rally, ever so weak at the moment, but US dollar Swiss isn't really going anywhere. US dollar yen, let's have a look at what the pound US dollar's up to. So bit of weakness there. Not a lot of movement. So yeah, very, very quiet open today. Very quiet. Aussie US is coming down at the moment as well. So there we go. DAX is out the lows. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with this US dollar today. But I'm anticipating the market being a little bit sketchy with the US. I think this talk of defaults on interest payments is bad. It means that they're in quite a bit of trouble. So I think the market will probably be a little bit scared of putting a lot of money into the US at the moment, which means that we'll probably find the safe havens like the Swissy and the yen will start to benefit, and the stock market as well will start to benefit. So we'll wait and see what happens today. But if we get a big bull day today, that's great. But I would suspect it's probably more likely enticing longs in so they can drop it. So I'm just a bit wary of US. I'd try and keep your exposure on the US pretty tight if you can. Yeah, got quite a lot of long exposure on the H1 strategy at the moment. So if that starts to tank, you obviously want to be a bit careful. Right, let's look through the RSIs this morning. So on the hourlies, we've only got one to look at the moment, which is the euro pound. So that's just about extended below the 30. Not massively extended, and we've had this big sort of drop on the euro since the rate announcement. Look at that for an exit. Look at that. Ooh, couldn't get out much better than that one, could we? That's why we target half an ADR. Morning, Brian. Didn't see there. So I'm just watching the pound US dollar coming down. So nice extension on that one. It's been fairly orderly since this initial drop. We've had a little bit of a flag push. We had a nice profit take pullback on that one, and this is kind of just a little bit of a push down. Kazakh's just talking about cutting interest rates. Bets on spring 2024 ECB cuts are significantly premature. 2024, that's a year away. I'm not interested in that. So yeah, euro pound, potential for a long back up into propulsion up into here. And obviously we got that one and that one, which is incomplete. That one's untested. So yeah, pretty good opportunities for longs on this one at the moment. The euro's not particularly strong at the minute though. So, and we've got a potential big, strong move on the pound this week coming on Thursday when the rates come out. So if we get that 4.5, I think we'll probably see a bit of a rally in the pound. It all depends on what the bank rates, the bank votes are as well, because if they're starting to think about pausing the interest rates, we might find that they don't actually drive a lot of money back into the pound. So we'll see what happens. But there's good potential for this to rally this week, and especially if Bailey rallies it off the back of the rate announcement and comes out and says, yeah, we're looking at 5 to 5.25 as our terminal rate, then obviously there'll be some money coming into the pound. So be careful of this one, obviously, because if we do get that in 2 days, that rate rise, obviously this is coming down, not going up. So you need to look at support resistance areas on this one. We've just broken out of 2 monthly lows. So that's last month's low. This is the previous month's low. We're now back out of those areas. So if you look at it sort of on the bigger picture, these lows obviously were bottom of range. We've broken out of that now. So we broke out of it, pulled back, significantly broken. So there is potential for this to come down. Euro's very weak off the back of its rate announcement. The pound should strengthen off the back of its. So that is a short. If you look at it on the buyer scorecard, it is neutral at the minute. So there's no real cop bias on it at all. At the moment, the retail is long, so it's a short. But everything else is kind of neutral. So all doing pretty bad, basically, if you look at the fundamentals on the euro and the pound. So euro 3.75, inflation is 7 and going the wrong direction. Pound is 4.25, inflation is the worst possible and hardly moving. So unemployment rate through the roof, coming down though. Unemployment rate pretty high, going up. So it's not good. We really do need more interest rate rises on the pound. So 0.25%, I don't think is going to cut it. I think there's going to be a lot of you should have done a 0.5, but we need to get on top of this thing. This should have been below 10 now. It's not. So I think they're a little bit worried at the moment about the speed of this. There was a lot of talk actually about inflation paying for COVID over the weekend as well on the news to do with the US and the UK. So that's what's kind of happened in the past with banking crises and things. Inflation's gone up and that's sorted out the problems, and you just have to live with high prices and everybody's poor for a while. So that might be basically what we're going to have to do, but we'll see. So there's your only hourly RSI extension, just that one on the euro pound there. Aussie dollar Swiss, 4 hour RSI extension. So that's nicely extended to the upside. Let me just quickly turn that off. 4. So euros, Aussie dollar, Swiss rather, nicely extended on the 4 hour, just above the 70 level, and then basically looking for that to push back down. This is a lovely 24.72 bounce opportunity as well. So nice downtrend. Obviously, when we're looking at trends, we're looking at bouncing off the 24.72, the monthly, quarterly moving averages. So that's right up where I'd like to take shorts, basically. So looks good. Morning, John. Morning, Baggy. So yeah, good looking shorts. Got one on that. That's on the H1 extension. So this was extended on the hourly. Nice M pattern divergence gone in there. Look. So that was the entry for the H1M5 strategy on Friday at that double top. Didn't get it, just got the flag and then broke to the upside. So looks good for shorts. Targets galore to the downside. And again, if we are going to get some issues with the US dollar, the Swiss franc will typically benefit from that. Money will go into the Swissy, and obviously Aussie Swiss will come down as the Swiss franc strengthens. So it looks like a lovely short, that one. Lots of downside targets on it. Euro odd, extended to the downside. Got one long on this at the moment. Just the one. Why am I not in 2? Oh, it's not quite there. 9. So it's my need my calculator. 158. $118 is 3/4 of an ADR. That's 113. So if I'd have seen that this morning, I'd have taken that manually. That should have been a second entry there, and that should be at break even now. But it's, this is the problem with EAs. They do exactly as they're told. And it was told to take trades at 118 pips apart. It looked at it and went, no, that's 113. I'm not getting in. So it didn't. So yeah, Euro odd. Nicely extended on the hourly. Look, we're just coming out of extension on the hourly now, so that's not lit up. But the 4 hour RSI extension, you are still down there. Let me just draw my lines back on the 70-30. So yeah, very nice extension on the 4 hour. Again, same as this, looking for the pop. The pop's happening. I'm just not on it. Don't want to take one there. It's too close. 71. It's less than half an ADR. I'm not going to take one. I should. Pain that is. Never mind. But yeah, targets to the upside. That target there at ADR, that propulsion target there, is basically back at my break even on that one. So Euro odd, very, very, very nice extension on the 4 hour. Beautiful weekly support bounce as well. Look, there's your previous week support, this black line. So that's 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago support. Beautiful bounce off of that. So looking to push back up into that move. If it's going to continue down, that's fine. You're getting out on the pullback. But this is also a nice trending long. So anywhere in the 24.72 zone is basically where you should be looking for continuations if you think the trend is going to continue. Euro odd. Euro odd, the squeeze machine. Yeah, well, it was a squeeze machine, not anymore. Euro CAD, also extended on the 4 hour. Again, all these euros came down on that rate announcement last week. So obviously, we got the rates last week for the euro last Thursday. We got the 3.75, which was as expected. Market was thinking about factoring in 4% because there was talk of them going up higher and faster because there wasn't the inflation rises that we were expecting. So I think the market factored in 4% a little bit too much. So what we're seeing here is the exit from that 4% expectation. It only got 3.75, so it scaled out some of those longs. However, still going to be going up. The Canadian dollar was weakened off the back of oil. Oil is starting to rally, though I'm not convinced. So there is potential for this now to push back up again. So this is a good spot to be buying down here, EuroCAD. So nice 4-hour RSI extension there. Drop down, lower time frames, M15, M5. Look for the reversal alerts on that one. Just had one on M15 this morning. So yeah, nice looking long opportunity. Nice big propulsion targets to the upside on that one as well. Euro pound, we've looked at this one. This was a 4-hour RSI extension. Still got a problem with this indicator on certain instruments. It's really weird. It fixes itself. It's every now and again, it suddenly drops for some reason. I'm looking into it. I haven't had a chance yet. Euro pound. So that's nicely extended on the 4-hour. We looked at it on the hourly. Look at that rejection. Beautiful 4-hour. Pound is coming down at the moment. So yeah, really nice rejection on the 4-hour there. Hourly, obviously, pushing up. We're only inside bar on that previous one, but looking good on the 4-hour. So we'll see how that candle closes. But nicely extended. So good potential for longs on Euro pound. Euro New Zealand. Nicely extended again on the 4-hour. Let me just quickly put these back in again. And then I will save the template so I don't have to keep doing it. Okay, so Euro New Zealand, nice extension. We're back down at the 72 now. And we're approaching this kind of support area here, potential support area. So that's the previous month's low, back down at just beyond ADR, 125 ADR. So this is very nicely extended, as you can see. We're down below the 20 level on the 4-hour. So this is a big extension. This euro really, really got hammered off the back of the rates. We had the New Zealand dollar powering up at the same time. So this has done a little bit more of a squeeze than the others. But if you look at it long term, it's a buy. It's always going to be, the euro should always be stronger than the New Zealand dollar. So nice market structure on this. We're in the middle of a pullback, basically, potentially for a next leg up. And there's no reason why that shouldn't happen. We're going to get the interest rates rising again on the euro. So that should continue to push. If you look at the interest rates on the New Zealand dollar, we're sitting up at 5.25, probably terminal rate. This is 0.25%, increase. Inflation is high. However, it is coming down at the fastest or second fastest rate behind the Australian dollar. So there's not a lot of pressure for them to increase that. Unemployment is doing well, which does give them a little bit more wiggle room there. But the fact that this is stabilizing and starting to come down, I think that's probably terminal rate. So when you look at it from that respect, the euro interest rate going up, New Zealand dollar interest rate not moving, that should be bullish euro New Zealand. So look at it on the scorecard. Euro New Zealand at the moment is range bound. But if you look at the positioning on it, so the fundamentals are pretty evenly matched, but COT are positioned long. At the moment, retail are long as well, which is why it's currently a short. But as soon as they flip the other side, we should get a good rally on the euro. So yeah, looks good for longs down there. 4-hour RSI extension. Got two positions on that at the moment on the H1. Zoom in. So yeah, two positions on that at the moment. One there. Average is there in that propulsion gap. Big targets to the upside. Loads of targets to the upside on this big, strong move down. So scaled out of one on that yesterday. And just looking for that profit take move on that multi-day drop that we've had. So looking good. So that's a nice looking long on the 4-hour. Very, very nicely extended. New Zealand dollar Swiss. Big extension to the upside. Got one short on that at the moment, sitting in profit on it at the minute. But so Swiss franc benefit from any US dollar drops. So potential continuation on this trend. So this looks like a nice little short as well. So New Zealand dollar Swiss is the kind of inverse, if you like, to the euro New Zealand. and the fact that obviously the Swiss franc moves with the euro. So if you've got the euro New Zealand pulling back like that, the New Zealand Swiss franc will be pulling back like that. So it's exactly the opposite of what I just said on that other pair. Yeah, nicely extended to the upside. The other one was extended to the downside. So 24.72 bounce, perfect area for a short continuation, and off we go and carry on that trend. So good looking opportunity there. On the hourly, you've got loads of targets to the downside, really nice propulsion gaps in place that were off the back of this strong move. So yeah, carry on. Short, in short, looking for that to drop. That's extended on the 4 hour. New Zealand dollar yen, again, 4 hour extension. That's short already on the hourly. So there was your M pattern reversal there. And yeah, I'm in short, wait for that to come down. 4 hour, you are extended. The entry was, again, this morning on that one, or the day before, yesterday. No, so this morning, sorry. My indicator's gone for the days of the week again. I wonder if that's conflicting with it. So, yeah, yesterday we had the reverse alert there, M pattern, nice drop. So that was your entry yesterday on the 4 hour up there. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, again, extended, nicely extended, big, strong push. This has basically just been flag all the way. So nice, big, strong push, flag, push, or flag, push. So either we're going to continue that move or they're ready to take profit now, in which case we get some decent pullback, sort of 30 to 50%. It's coming down very nicely at the moment. So we just had an hourly reversal alert on it. M15, your entry was yesterday. Nice, quick, short. Looking for that to push down. It's M15. That's taken the indicator off again on M15, isn't it? Very weird. I'm going to have to get to the bottom of what that is. It's working fine now. I think something's tripping it off. It's like it's one of those needle in a haystack problems. I'm going to need to bug fix. By the way, the MT5 version of this indicator, the support resistance propulsion indicator, it's finished. It's working. It won't upload to MQL5 Marketplace. MQL5 Marketplace says there's an issue with it. As usual, it's cryptic. You can't. They don't give you any information. So I've contacted them. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. They're basically saying that it doesn't work on gold. It works fine on gold. Anyway, so yeah, it is ready to go. It will be out hopefully this week if I can get it through the marketplace validation. So shorts on that, New Zealand dollar, US dollar. As you can see, that's already rolled over. That's a 4 hour RSI extension. Nice again, M pattern there and divergence. So we got it's not very good divergence. It's kind of flat, a little bit of a push up. You got back up here for another entry if you need it. And yeah, profit take on that move basically is what I'm anticipating there. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and US dollar CAD is the other one, which is an extension to the downside. This was a really nice area down here. We got very extended. So got two positions on this one at the moment. Really extended. So it's the same as that play there, basically. Big, strong push down. Looking for at least a profit take on it, if not a push back up into those highs. Really depends what happens with the Canadian dollar and oil, but more importantly, depends what happens with the US dollar and this possible credit default swap. Credit default that's basically on the cards. So there was something, I can't remember where it was, which day it was. Might have been Friday last week. Producer prices moved. I saw something about them saying there was going to be a potential problem, but I can't remember which day it was because my days of all. Oh, here you go. I know. My days have all merged into one over the weekend. Places PacWest negative. Considers loss sharing with non-banks and increased bids on futures. Yeah, there you go. So Yellen said the US could default as early as the 1st of June. So some point next month, they're expecting not to be able to meet their interest rate payment requirements. So it'll be the first time they will fail to make payments. So basically, this is a massive thing. It's like not so much going bankrupt, but the business is failing in the US. So, and again, we saw there not high core inflation will prompt more rate increases. So again, ECB saying we are putting the rates up, so we will get a bullish move on the euro, and the US saying we're about to go bankrupt. Highly likely that's coming down. So euro, US dollar, you want to be looking for longs. But it is something to worry about with this US dollar. So where we are here with the US dollar CAD, in theory, we'd be normally seeing a lovely pullback on that. If they keep talking about this issue with not meeting their interest payments, the US is not going to rally. So you've got the potential for a massive, massive move to the downside on the US dollar. So they will pull their money out of the US and they will put their investment elsewhere. Can't remember who it was at the weekend. I think it was Buffett said that he's putting a lot more of his investment portfolio into Japan at the moment. So he's pulling it out of the US and putting it into Japan because it's safer. So unless obviously they get invaded by China and then he's going to lose everything. But anyway, that says something, doesn't it? If he thinks it's better to put it over in China, in Japan rather. I say China's not going to invade Japan. But he's putting all his money over there rather than in the US is what I'm trying to say. So it's more important that we keep a very close eye on the US dollar at the moment, because if we see one of those moves where we suddenly get a 300 ADR move and you sort of like the move that we've had here, but happening again, that's usually the start of a catastrophic drop. So look at something like the S&P. When we start going into bear markets on the daily. So what it tends to do is it tends to be that sort of move. So we get a couple of big down days and then a slight pullback, and then you get these big catastrophic moves which go on for days and days and days, and they never recover from it. It's a shift in trend, basically. So we're moving from an uptrend into a downtrend. So that's potentially what we've got coming for the US dollar. So all these pairs on the US that have been bullish, as you can see from these 2 days here on the US dollar CAD, potentially that sort of movement is on the cards. Big, strong move. And then obviously just going into a downtrend on them. So euro US dollar is a good example, actually, going back here. So big, strong push to the upside, like 6, 7, 8 days, solid movement. And then that's it. You're in an uptrend. So it tends to be a very violent shift, which you don't see coming. So if you get stuck on the wrong foot on one of these, you could be in it for months. And it's just kind of one of those things where you have to jump ship. So we'll wait and see, though, because obviously nothing's guaranteed. They're saying that they could default. They may or may not default. We'll see. So, but again, just keep your eyes peeled on the US dollar. Any fast, sharp movements, check the news, check why that's happened. Putin is speaking at the Victory Day parade. Watch your indices, in case he says something. Oh my God, look at the DAX. So the DAX is basically undone completely, that push. So we got, again, another rejection at the lows down there. So push back up. So no real movement on the DAX this morning. Bit of a whipsaw. So that propulsion gap is held. They are holding. No movement. Very weak at the moment, the market. Right, that's all I've got for you on the RSIs. So let me know if there's anything else you want to have a look at. Morning, MACD. Morning, Jarland. Yeah, hold on to your butts. Essentially, money making opportunity though as well. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. So Aussie, New Zealand, kind of in the middle of nowhere at the moment. Just kind of in the middle of nowhere at the moment. So we've got this target to the downside. If we get back down to there, I'll be looking for longs back up into there. That's a nice, easy one, that is. But there's lots of targets to the upside on this as well. So good potential moves to the upside on that, Aussie, New Zealand. 4 hour is just sideways as well. So nothing's really moved on it. It's just, you're sitting in no man's land. No real reason to get in long. No real reason to get in short at the moment. Not going anywhere. NASDAQ. NASDAQ, you trade in the afternoon. Not in the morning because it's not open. But same scenario with all the US industries. We're pushed up at the highs because of the Friday rally. So potential shorts, but this could be a breakout. Breakout's got to happen at some point. So you are going to get a breakout of a range at some point. You're also going to get a false breakout and then short. So don't know. All depends what happens with the US dollar at the minute. Swiss yen. So again, Swiss yen, middle of nowhere. No real reason to get into this at the moment. We're just sitting sideways. All the yen pairs, if you look at all the yen pairs on the scorecard, they're all longs. We want to be longing everything against the yen at the moment. So it's positive literally everywhere. We've got bullish COT and neutral COT. But at the moment, the entire market is shorting the yen. Yeah, so it's a long. At the moment, it's coming down quite nicely on the Swiss yen. So, but yeah, don't know, yen. Again, the yen is a very dangerous pair. If someone again held a gun to my head this morning and said, right, you've got to make X amount of money in the next X amount of time, pick your pairs, I would exclude all yen and all US dollar at the moment, because there's potential for the Japanese to increase their interest rates, which they haven't done since 2016. So if that happens, we're going to get a massive bullish move on the yen, and that's going to come down very, very, very fast. At the moment, though, all the fundamentals are pointing to the fact that you should be longing everything against the yen. So it's one of those which at any moment could just go bang, and it's off. So an intervention or an interest rate rise will drive that. And obviously with the US dollar, business as usual at the moment, should be looking to buy the US dollar or kind of stay neutral on it. But at any point, that thing could collapse as well. So the yen, I'm always more interested in shorts. However, the fundamentals are all pointing at longs. It's a very, very difficult thing to trade the yen. So it's fundamentally, it's bullish. Interventionally and with foresight moving forward, potentially for interest rate rises, it's a short. So, but right now intraday, there's nothing to look at. It's sideways. Look, in the middle of nowhere. The short was there. You can see there's the short that I took on last week, 28th. Shorted there. Exit. Done. There was no long entry there. That's a nice divergence. You could have got in there and out as well, but no, nothing at the minute. Sideways. Bank of Japan's Ueda is important for Forex moves to reflect fundamentals. When did they say that? Was it overnight? Are you just picking that one out from ages ago, Bellino? But yeah, that is basically what they say. So Ueda will come out with and that's when you know something's coming. When they come out, they always drop hints. They're very good at that. So the Japanese will come out And they will say things like that. It's important for Forex moves to reflect fundamentals, i.e., we don't think that this weakness in the yen is warranted. Therefore, we're going to buy a load of yen and we're going to drive it up. So when you see things like that coming in the news feed, you know there's a move on its way. One of those interventions that we know and love from the yen. So you suddenly get a huge move to the downside. Yeah. Big, strong moves. Where they basically just intervene. So that was last night, was it? Doesn't seem to have been put in red, though. If price target is met in sustainable, stable manner, Bank of Japan will end YCC and then shrink its balance sheet. Yeah, it's not a red though, is it? So I don't read everything, just read the reds. I'm assuming Financial Juice know what they should be highlighting for us, but